Okay guys, it's time to make a whip finisher. In my rotary tool I have a piece of welding wire, 1.5 mil in diameter and about 27-25 centimeters long. We're gonna make this bit of the wire pointy, so then we can start making a whip finisher. Don't forget your goggles, guys, and the glove. That's okay. That looks okay. Now guys, this is polishing felt. This is polishing paste. It's difficult to get the paste onto the polishing bit without it having to spin when it's not spinning. So what I do is I will turn on the rotary tool, let it spin without polishing paste, get it hot. Okay guys, so now it's hot. You see, we're touching the polishing paste, it melts. So now we can transfer it over onto our polishing felt. Now this is nicely polished. I have grind down 3 whip finishers. 2 of them will be 1.5 mil welding rod stainless steel wire. It's going to be the midge size and the normal size. And the third one of them will be 2.5 mil wire, stainless steel, and it's going to be the bigger size. But before we start bending them, I have here 2 other pieces of wire that we can practice on, because we only kind of have one shot at bending each whip finisher. If we bend it wrong, we have to start all over again. Okay, round nose pliers. Let's practice in bending the first bit. The trick is, guys, when you grab it, don't bend the pliers around the wire. Bend the wire around the pliers. So don't do this, but do this. Okay, so that's the first part done. It's okay. I successfully bended 3 little hooks at the front of the wires. That's the start of our whip finishers. They're bent this way, but then we have to see if they're straight this way. And we might have to straighten them out a little bit. It's okay. I'm gonna start with the with the biggest whip finisher that have the thickest wire. Okay guys, so I've bended the front loop. I want it to be about 3 centimeters long. Now we have to make another bend. We're gonna make it about 6 centimeters long. Bend it this way. So now we need to bend a nice little loop in here. Already looking like something. So now I want about 3 centimeters from here to here. That's okay. So that's my practice bending of the whip finisher. I like the shape. So now I'm gonna bend my wire for the actual whip finisher in the same way as I bended my practice one. So 3 centimeters. We're gonna get it straight and centered. Okay, let me see. What's the angle? We need to go more. That seems okay. We have to bend this bit, and that's 6 centimeters. Maybe we're going to make it a little bit straighter. That's okay. So from here, we're going to bend it outwards. That's great. So now we're going to close it. Put it in here. Slide it down until it touches. That's 3 centimeters. Let me just check the angles. So now we're going to make the handle about 8 centimeters long or so. We have marked it, so now we're gonna snip it off. So it's flat. Okay, so we're gonna do it step by step. So I bended it. I bended my practice wire. Now this is the wire that is prepared for the whip finisher. 2 centimeters. That's okay. Okay guys, so now it's almost finished. I want the handle to be about 7 centimeters long, so I have marked it with my calipers. Here we go. So now we need to straighten the whip finisher. That seems okay. I'll just file down this part where I snipped it. 1.5. That is quite straight now. Let's see. Six centimeters. Okay guys, now we need to file pretty smooth. I don't know if you can see it, but here when we were bending it, there's a little bit of wire sticking out. So we're just going to file it away just on the edge, so it's more round and smooth. I'm gonna keep changing sides, keep changing directions until it's smooth. It have gotten rounder around these edges here. Now, okay guys, so here I have the 3 almost finished whip finishers. The smallest for the small flies, lures or whatever it is. The standard for your small and medium flies, lures, and then the bigger one for your bigger lures. Or sometime when you have a longer hook, if you need to reach at the back of it to make a whip finish, that's great. This one is 2.5 mil wire, and these two both are 1.5 mil stainless steel wire. This one is a Matarelli style whip finisher, classic. This one sometimes referred to as a midge style wood finisher, and this one is a cross between Matarelli and a midge, because it does here have the shape of this smallest wood finisher, and in here there's a loop for the thread, almost the same style as a Matarelli. So midge, Matarelli, and the cross between two of them. When I was bending in here, and the round nose pliers have embedded their ridges onto the wire. So first I'm gonna have to grind it down and then polish. So these are the parts where we're just going to polish on the hooks to make sure it's very smooth. And then these are the parts I'm gonna try to grind away the ridges on the wood finishers and then polish them. Okay guys, let's start grinding. Safety goggles. I have grinded it down, so now you can't really see the dents. So now it'll be way easier to polish it. This is our medium-sized wood finisher, and it's really not bad. There's a little part in there, little mark there, and then on this side there's also two little marks. Okay, so now it's time for our smallest wood finisher. I can see there's some marks there. I'm gonna grind them away. Also on this side, a little bit here. Tiny one here from when we were bending it, and then there's a little bit here at the back. Here we go. So the wood finish has been grinded in the areas where it was most needed, mainly around these loops here, these loops. So now we have to polish them. Polish these parts where we have grinded them, and also polish the hooks that are at the front to make it extra smooth so they don't break the thread when you're wood finishing. Okay, going to get a little bit of polishing paste on. I have this part polished, looks pretty shiny, and I especially like this part. It's very smooth for the thread, it's not going to break it. So now what we have to do, polish this hook. Now it's shiny inside, outside, on the edges. I think this whip finish is ready to go. Okay guys, now we're going to do our medium whip finisher. My felt polishing bit became quite dirty after using it on the bigger whip finisher, so now we're gonna have to clean it and rough it up with our metal brush. It might still look dirty, but the fibers have opened up. They became more fluffier, and now they can take polishing paste again, and we're gonna polish this Matarelli whip finisher. Looks pretty shiny and polished. Let's just see. Yep, I think I approve. So now the last, smallest whip finisher left. Now that looks good. Pretty shiny. Inside, at the back, on the sides. Here are the 3 whip finishes. But they're not done yet. Here we have to solder a ball. Then we have to insert a tube in it so it rotates. And then we have to solder the end of it as well so the tube doesn't fall off. So now I'm gonna solder, I've already soldered 2 of them, nickel balls. Now I have to solder this last one. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to stick a little piece of solder inside the ball, and then I'm gonna melt it. Let me just see on the other side. Maybe just a little piece more. That's fine. What I've done was I put a bit of flux on the part where I want the ball to be soldered to. Also, before putting the flux, I have roughed it up with the file. Also, what I've done was I have drilled a hole into the ball after I soldered it. So now we can put the ball onto our whip finisher, and then we can insert it into the hole in the board that we drilled. And then we're going to push it down as far as it goes. And then we're going to get our soldering iron. We're going to get a little bit of solder onto it. Okay, so now the solder got hot. It went around the whip finisher. It doesn't want to move forward or back. It's stuck to the wire. Okay, guys. So we've soldered these balls at the front of each whip finisher. They will help us to stop the tube sliding forward. So guys, we are going to use this nickel beads for the 2.5 mil wire whip finisher. We're going to use a slightly bigger nickel beads. I bought them in a craft store. And then for my medium and small whip finishers that are 1.5 mil wire, we can just use our normal fly tying beads. They're little beads that you put at the front of the fly. So here is a soldered ball bearing. Here in the middle will be a tube, another little nickel ball to help it spin, and then a ball that we're going to solder to stop it from moving off. And as per tubes, preferably they have to be stainless steel. And then other main criteria is that they just have to be 1 mil wider than the actual wire, so they would go smoothly onto the wire, still leaving enough room for the whip finisher to spin. Another advice I can give you, if you for some reason can't find this metal stainless steel tubes, I found mine online, bought them on eBay from China. If you can find it, it doesn't mean you're gonna make a whip finisher without the spinny handle. What you can do is, this is a normal TV aerial. It was old and broken, and it's just the perfect size for 1.5 mil wire. So let's say if I was stuck and I didn't have my stainless steel tubes, I would just use this TV aerial and get the same result. Okay guys, so we have got our whip finishers prepared, so now we just have to get our tubes, cut them to size, and then slide them onto each handle of the whip finisher, and then solder the ball at the back. I'm gonna get a whip finisher, and I'm just gonna see what size it's gonna be, the tube that we need to be cutted. Now I'm gonna open it until the end, until the ball goes to the back end of the wire, about there, 6.25. So from there I'm going to open up 1 mil extra to give enough room for us to work with. Here we go, fix it in place, and now we're going to mark it on our tube. Okay guys, so I have marked the tube. What I've done was I positioned my calipers, I put one end to the start of the tube, and then with the other end I scratch a little line all the way around, and I know that's there's where I have to cut it. There's a variety of ways you can cut it. The main thing, don't squeeze it into your vise, because then the tube will get damaged and it's going to become oval or flat, and that's not good to us. I got this box. This is where the debris is going to fly while I'm cutting it. The groove is getting bigger. I'm going to twist it, and I'm going to bring the groove all the way around. Okay guys, so you see I have made the groove all the way around, and now it's really brittle and fragile, so now we can just break it. So now we just have to file this end flat and then try it out on our whip finisher and see if it fits. We have filed our tube guys, so it's flat on both ends. So now we get to try it on and see if it's the correct length. Okay, so just a little bit too long, because I want this piece of wire, when I put the final bit on, I want it sticking out for about half a millimeter. So now that means we need to continue filing it down so it fits. Okay guys, the filing looks good. Let me just check it on the whip finisher. I like the way it's sitting just flush with the edge of the ball. So now I'm gonna file both ends with the finer file to give it a finishing look. And now with the round nose file I'm going to smooth out the inside edge of the tube. I'm gonna twist it on this side and then on the other side as well, so it spins smoothly on the wire of the whip finisher. So the inside edge is smooth, so now I have to smooth out the outside edge with my fine file as well. Okay guys, so I have got our tube cut, filed down and smoothed out on both sides, and it's now it's proper length. Let's just check it. Very good. So it sits flush with the end of the wire. That's how I want it, because when we're gonna solder it and then we're gonna raise it slightly, the wire is going to hide and there will be give in the tube for it to spin smoothly. Okay guys, here we go. We have finished installing the tube onto our whip finishers. They're all cut to size, filed, and smooth, ready to go. Spins beautifully. So now all we have to do to keep the tubes in place on the whip finishers, we have to solder these balls at the end of each whip finisher. We're going to start soldering with our bigger whip finisher. We're going to take this ball at the back that we're going to solder, and now we just need to see how much solder do we need. We're going to slide it onto the solder wire and then cut it. Push it to the edge and then cut. And that will give us exactly how much solder we need to go in. And I've also cut the smaller bits of solder here so I can fill it up. We have our solder, so now we have to flux this little ball. I'm just using an old toothpick. I'm gonna get a bit of flux. I'm gonna flux it from one side, and then I'm gonna turn it around and then flux it from the other side. Now what we need to do, we need to melt our solder with soldering gun, and then the thickness of this wire is 2.5 mil. So we're not going to stick this wire straight into the ball. First we're going to try with the same thickness wire. We're going to get it melt, and then we're going to insert it and see if we have enough solder, if it's spilling out, or if it's not enough to the edge. And then once we get correct amount inside, then we're going to flux this end and we're going to solder it to the ball. While I'm getting my solder gun hot, what I'm going to do is, just at the very edge of the wire, I'm going to file in a groove. Okay guys, so I filed in a groove into the wire. So when it's soldered in and the solder hardens, it'll be more difficult for this ball to slip off. So now we're just going to flux this end of the wire where the ball is going to be soldered to. Way around on the top and on the sides. Okay, so we're going to leave it here. Okay guys, gonna melt the solder, and I'm going to stick this wire into it just to imitate our actual wire from the whip finisher going in, and see if I have enough or not, if I need to fill the ball more or not. Yeah, that looks okay. That looks like the ball is quite full. Now we get to do it with the actual whip finisher. The solder is melting, and the wire is going to slide inside the ball. Let's see from the back. Yeah, that's perfect. And it is quite straight and everything. So now the ball is secure inside, and there is a little bit of a give in the tube so the wire can spin freely. This is our medium size whip finisher. We are getting the solder hot. It's pretty hot now, and then we're gonna stick it in there. Okay guys, so I have got the ball soldered onto each whip finisher. This one, the smallest one, actually turned out great. As soon as I soldered it, it just went in, and there was no spillage, there was no extra bits coming out of it, and it just turned out great. So the smallest one, it don't need any work done on it at all. Spins beautifully. Then the second best was the biggest one. The back end turned out beautifully as well. There is nothing there. Totally smooth. Don't even need to file it. But there's just one little bit here, right there. Right there, I think you can see it. Right there. So we can get it with our clippers. You see it? Yeah. But otherwise, spins beautifully as well. And then the medium one came out great at the back. But then we got a little bit of spillage there. So now we're going to work on removing this little piece from this whip finisher, and then cleaning up the spillage on our medium whip finisher. And this one is great. We can put it to the side. It's ready to go. We are just going to come in here really close and then snip it. The back part, when you're squeezing it with the finger, feels really smooth. Okay guys, here's our medium one. It got solder running in here, so we're just going to take away the big bits with our nail clippers and then finish the rest with the file. And what I'm doing is I'm only trying to file the solder. I'm trying not to touch the balls that I've soldered at the back. Okay guys, I have finished cleaning up the whip finishers. They're now clean, soldered, ready to go. This one, as I was saying, it have turned out to be pretty good. Pretty clean, very well soldered, ready to go. This one was the second best. I have also cleaned it, and now it's pretty good. Spins beautifully. And this was the most unclean. So now I have cleaned it with the file. You can still see a little bit of solder, but it's pretty good. It's pretty smooth when it spins in your hand. When you're holding it with your finger while it spins, it's pretty smooth. You can't feel anything. Okay guys, let's try out the whip finishers. This is the smallest one we made. It's pretty small and neat. Spins nicely. Let me show you. Very good. Now guys, this one is a medium-sized one. Also spins quite nicely. That's the biggest one, guys. I'm gonna be using it for finishing bigger flies, or if there's something on the way like deer hair, or to be able to finish at the back of the hook if the hook is really long. Very good, guys. They all work very nicely, very smoothly. Okay, guys. The whip finishers are made. They're being tested. They work perfect. So now we have to put them to good use and make lures with them. To make a lure, guys, you have to know how to start it. And then you have to know how to finish it. And then everything else in between is up to your imagination. Let's make some lures.